You keep growing and you keep changing, depending on what you're doing. You could be thin, and if you're taking the path of eating Twinkies all day and these real French things and all sweet things, you're going to go from thin to fat, and fat to fatter to fatter to fatter, and you'll be like on one of those special shows where they can tear out the wall and get this man out the house. You know what I'm talking about? All right, you can be going from fat to thinner, where you begin to scratch yourself and say that you weigh 80 pounds and you think you're fat. You know? All these are spirits. And these spirits that are connected to you affect your mind. They call it the psyche. It's always changing. You can be in love, as you say, falling in love, and you meet the wrong individual, and next thing you know, you're going into depression, anxiety, suicidal, drinking, addictive behaviors, all these things in the negative realm. You justify because you say, there's 10 million people doing that. I'm normal. Because you're normal don't mean that you're in the right path for you and your signature vibration of who and what you are. So what you have to do is you have to look at your 7 means of developmental. And anybody that's over 70, what you're saying, well, is there any hope for them? Absolutely. Because things can happen. Just like when I forgot to mention, one of the things I forgot to mention in the study that I did, and on my notes that's not on the computer because I didn't put that in there, is that one of the things that I was putting in there was that I found out that in these individuals that we call, I don't have it, I'm going to interrupt this for a second. The individuals that we call the Moors that we were doing, we now know that they're part of the 7 principal people and the people of Ham, the hidden majestic light. They were called Highlanders. And these are the ones that were connected to the Bible, the Highlanders. And the Highlanders were the noble and the Highlanders. And that's what the Bible said. We will leave the highlands and go to the plains. And it became the plainsmen. And the plainsmen were there. And this sector of the plainsmen also connected to the so-called Moors. But let's get back to where we are. I forgot to put that in there. Now, because an individual here, they say sweet 16 because they know that once you're in this area of development, you now have become within your realm of sweet 16, which is your first 7. And when you're 16 years of age, you're now, that's when they give the female the sweet 16 party. She should have breasts. Most women at that time do have breasts, don't they? I've seen them now. Some of them are 10, you know, but hey, let's go now. But that's when you have that first brain, see? And that's the 7. Then when you're dealing with here, you're dealing with another 7, see? And when they get to a certain age here, they say 30, they're kind of worried. But what I'm trying to show you is that each phase. So what happens is your hands take on what your spirit and mind and the psyche is about and how you are and how you connect to your signature vibration. And in your signature vibration, you begin to understand. So that's why it says, don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. You see how you have one long-haired female and one short-haired female. One's connected to Shekinah, other one connected to the bitch. Therefore, when you're dealing with these structures, you have to be able to make sure that these things are balanced so that if you're going to connect to the bitch, that you have these powers of darkness used for defense so that you'll be able to deal with this physical, deal with it, get it done, and then come back to balance. You have to learn to control that, but you can't control it if you don't understand your signature vibration and your stones. These stones are very, very important. And the thing is, there are certain stones like the amethyst, the aquamarines, labradorites, turquoise, all the other stones. They have things to help you with powers. But when you're dealing with your signature birthstones, they're there. Now what happens is, if you are here and you have a stone, let's say your stone is an obsidian. There are 7 times if you are, let's say that you are, let's just say that you are 25 years of age. You're in this frame, phase 2. You're about 22, 25 years of age. When you get to this zone here, every 7 years you should change. So if you're 20, let's say you're 22, you got 3 years before you're 25. You should start whether you're 7 years or not. When you get to this zone and you're 25, and even though you start in the ancient when you was 22, all right, when you get 25 on your birth time, you should take all your stones should be replaced, and these stones should return to the ground from which they came. But you smoke and clean them and put them to the ground with your prayer. And these are returning back to the earth, and you renew yourself. So every 7 years you renew. You don't change your stones, you just renew them. Okay, and return them to the earth. You understand what I'm saying? Remember how they say a farmer has to do where he had to change crop every 7 years? So do this on the 7th principle. Now, these are the things. So what you want to do is make sure that you understand this 7th thing, because the 7 is a very sacred thing. And the stones are something very, 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 very serious. Now, here is where I want you to understand this. Please. Now, these stones in which we're talking about, where we have in these charts, I can't see it now, but that's where you have the obsidian, you have the vibrations, you have where the planet, and I'll tell you what kind of metal it is. These are the black that deals with the ancient, the blue deals with the sort of the world mix and things of this nature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have this for you so that you'll be able to do this. When you get this chart, and when you have this chart, I want you to understand something. That this chart is a basic, even though it may be a little complex, it's a basic chart, and it doesn't exist because we just created it not too long ago. And the wheel is based upon many different things of the aspects of alchemy and of the ancient. It is not sorcery, it is not magic, it is not something that you can deal with and saying that somebody done made you angry and now gonna make them disappear. It ain't that kind of crap. What this is to show you how to understand the attributes and the gifts of an individual born in a certain gate. We know that the stones are a certain gate, and there are 22 gates of light, as well as in the spectrum, as well as in the conditions of the physical. And these things deal with the 7 principal people. They will begin to help you to heal, restore, and rejuvenate, and they rejuvenate every new moon. And what you want to do is you want to begin to understand your powers. And your powers are in the healing of herbs. Herbs are plant life, you know. I'm not talking about marijuana and things of this nature. You know, those who do that is of their own personal choice. I'm not telling you that you should go out there and do that. Now, then you have vegetable things that you're dealing with, and you wonder why certain children are born and they just don't like broccoli, because their signature don't accept the vibration of that plant. Then also milk. We stop, as I said before, we should stop trying to feed our children cow's milk. We're not cattle. At least the ones who are the 7 sacred indigenous people, we are not. So don't go there. But what you're going to learn is how to do this, and you'll have that chart. And what you're going to do is I'm going to break this down to you. And when I break this down to you, this chart and what it's about, this chart in itself is going to be something that you're going to learn, and you're going to understand every aspect of what the so-called months are. All right? So when I'm talking to you and I'm dealing with you, I'm going to say, go to this one here, and this is the number 1, number 2, number 3. Because you'll begin to understand. And say, when I say the 7 areas of your life, then you'll know what those things are. Because when these things begin to take on, you're going to take on the spectrum. Because what's going to happen is you're going to begin to see how things are happening. Because these are something that you have to learn. And when you learn these things, how you put them into your path is going to be on you. And when you do these things, they are going to affect you one way or the other. but they're gonna be on you. So